Hey everybody, and welcome back once again. My name is Derek. Today is February 16th, 2019. In this video, I'm going to be talking about the numerology of the death of Lee Radziwill, the sister of Jackie Kennedy, who passed away yesterday, February 15th, at the age of 85. Now, when we're talking about numerology, we're looking at dates on the calendar and date numerologies. If you add up date numbers in different ways, you get a set of different numbers. You also get a set of numbers when typing in someone's name, or any word or phrase for that matter. This language is called Gematria, the ancient practice of coding numbers into words, something very well and alive today, even in our current English alphabet. These are the same four methods I show on the screen at the beginning of every video. We have the alphabetic order in the top left, 1 through 26. The alphabetic order reversed for a complementary cipher called reverse ordinal. And then we have our Pythagorean or reduction methods. These ciphers use the rules of numerology to reduce each double-digit number to a single digit before adding it to the equation. And when you pay attention to names, dates, particularly dates on which people die, you realize something very strange is going on in this world. So we'll be exploring this throughout the course of the video. I'm not only going to decode the death of Lee Radziwill, but I'm also going to be looking at the death of Mitch Hedberg, who I just did a post on yesterday. And just take a look at how this has been working for many, many years. Certainly long before 2005, but we'll get there. So the first important detail about Lee Radziwill is that she was the younger sister of former First Lady Jackie Kennedy. And it doesn't take much time to look at the deaths of Kennedy family members to realize something strange is going on there, numerically as well. For instance, let's take a look at Robert Kennedy. The name Robert equals 33, just like the name Kennedy, both in the same reduction method. This means his name sums to 66, Robert Kennedy, 66. And this man was killed on June 6th. The date written 6/6. His murderer was named Sirhan Sirhan. His name in that same method also 66. However, in this case, we're looking at the gematria of Kennedy, 33 in reduction. In another important cipher I teach called Jewish gematria, this is the cipher on the right side of the screen, structured more closely to Hebrew gematria and Greek isopsephy, where this practice originated. In Jewish gematria, the word 33, as it's spelled out, has a numeric value of 895. This is the same as ritual human sacrifice, 895. So the number 33 commonly coded into death, as it seems. So we know the name Kennedy equals 33. Well, isn't it interesting that Lee Radziwill, Jackie Kennedy's younger sister, was born on March 3rd, 1933. That would be the date 3/3/33. Another important word that sums to 33 is the word eclipse. And it just so happens that the dates on which eclipses occur are significant in relation to people's deaths. And we'll explore how this works as well. So the word eclipse equals 33, just like Kennedy, this woman born on 3/3/33. It's important to understand how significant prime number relationships are as well to this study. And here we're talking about 137, which is the 33rd prime number. If you measure from the date that Lee Radziwill died to the date of the next total solar eclipse, we find it's exactly 137 days after she died. Using the alphabetic order, the phrase total eclipse equals 137. There's another really significant total solar eclipse about to occur in a few years. That'll be on the date April 8th of 2024, when we get the second of two Great American total solar eclipses. Measuring from Lee Radzivill's death to the date of that eclipse is a span of 1,880 days exactly. If you reverse the alphabetic order where Z is 1 and A is 26, the name Lee Radziwill sums to 188. There's also a pretty significant form of gematria called Francis Bacon, which uses capital letters. You'll see A through Z is still 1 through 26, but then capital A through capital Z is 27 through 52. And in this method, Lee Radziwill also equals 188. We call this double gematria. So how fitting she died exactly 1,880 days before that next Great American Eclipse. So we discussed the reduction gematria of eclipse 33. We're also going to look at the reverse gematria of 39. And think about this in relation to how rapper Notorious B.I.G. died. This man died on March 9th, 1997. The date written 3/9. The name Biggie in ordinal and reduction equals 39, also 33 like eclipse. And on the date he died, 3/9, there was a total solar eclipse. And there's only about 7 of those per decade, so that's a very, very rare occurrence. All these rappers definitely being murdered by the same code. Of course, it's possible that some of these people are faking their deaths. I have no idea. I can only run the numbers. Anyway, we're talking about the number 39. Radzivill's birth numerology, 3 plus 3 plus 33, equals 39. Now remember, her sister was Jackie Kennedy. The name Jackie sums to 39 in the alphabetic order. And if you measure from the anniversary of Jackie Kennedy's death, Jackie died on May 19th of 1994. So if you go from May 19th of last year to the date of her younger sister's death, you find it's a span of exactly 39 weeks. Not only that, but if you actually go all the way back to the day she died, we find that it's the 9,039th day since her passing, a number that contains 39 both forwards and backwards. Both of these women were born with the last name Bouvier, I think it's pronounced. Check out the name Jackie Bouvier and how this appears to be coded in every part of her sister's death. First of all, Jackie Bouvier equals 131. Her sister lived for 1,031 months. In the reverse alphabetic order, Jackie Bouvier equals 220. This represents the number 22 in numerology where zeros are ignored. Lee Radziwill was born on a date with a life lesson number of 22. As far as the 59 in reduction, this is the Jewish value of the word kill. And 59 is the 17th prime number. Also in that method, kill equals 17. And if you measure from the date of her death to the date of her next birthday, it was a span of exactly 17 days. Finally, there's an 85 in reverse reduction for Jackie Bouvier. Her sister Lee lived to the age of 85. And on the date she died, it was exactly 85 days after the anniversary of the JFK assassination. A couple more things I want to point out about this woman's name. She was formerly known as the Princess Caroline Lee Radziwill. In the reverse alphabetic order, this sums to 410, and we will talk about the reduction values in a second. This number here represents 41, which is the 13th prime number. The name Lee Radziwill equals 136, the common spelling of it, as I've been using, and 13 is the 6th prime number. We also mentioned her double gematria of 188 earlier. Think about how the Bavarian Illuminati has a value of 188. And the Illuminati started with 13 families back on May 1st of 1776. This number 13 appears in her age at death, 1,031 months and 13 days. But really what I noticed is that this is more like a 13-113 string. And 113 is the reverse reduction value of her sister Jackie's birth name, Jacqueline Lee Bouvier. When her sister died, her name was Jacqueline Lee Kennedy Onassis, which also sums to 113. 113 is also a prime number. That would be the 30th prime number. And check out how Kennedy equals 30 in the reverse reduction method. So we talked about how this was related to total solar eclipses. Freemasonry was founded by the numbers of total solar eclipses. Feel free to check out my post that's linked in my post about Lee Radziwill. So you'll notice she had her name was officially spelled with these foreign characters. So I've only been using her common name as it's listed here, Lee Radziwill, and then also her full name with these foreign characters taken into account. And notice how her name sums to 189 and 108 in the base methods. The phrase Freemasonic equals 189 and 108 in the ordinal ciphers. In Jewish Gematria, Freemasonic equals 319, and the date on which she died leaves 319 days in the year. In Satanic Gematria, Masonic equals 319, so does killing 319. So these alignments are very difficult to ignore. The date on which she died also had 29 numerology. That would be the life lesson number. That's the reduction value of Masonic. And see about how these numbers were represented in the Aurora, Illinois shooting from yesterday in my last video. Masonic equals 74 and 29, just like Aurora, 74 and 29. That ritual was all littered with the numbers of Masonry also. Finally, I want to look at her formal full name, Princess Caroline Lee Radziwill. We checked out the 410 in reverse earlier. But notice the reduction values, 139 and 158. These are the same as Freemasonry, 139 and 158. Now you may be saying, well, what about 58 and 59? I don't see those numbers in her name. Well, when you take her name, Lee Radziwill, with the foreign characters, you get 58 and 59, also a 158 in reverse. And when we're talking about Freemasonry, we're talking about the Scottish Rite of Freemasonry, which sums to 350 in reverse. And on the date she died, Lee Radziwill was a span of 350 days after her birthday. Pretty interesting stuff. So special thanks to everybody who's jumped in and contributed while I'm live here. Somebody led off saying they weren't notified by YouTube when my video went live earlier today. This is common, and this is why I encourage everybody to not only subscribe, but make sure you guys are subscribed to my channel on a regular basis, because my channel, for some reason, loses subscribers. They slowly tick away one by one. And this has been happening for quite some time. My last YouTube channel was completely deleted, and it never faced any type of censorship or anything goofy with the numbers until I started talking about Gematria. So when I ask people to like, share, and subscribe, it's not because I'm trying to get my name out there. It's because I want this information out there. This is stuff that is clearly being kept from the public. They'd like for us to remain in the dark, but no one will complete their lack of truth until they understand that this numeric system is being used by the wealthy elites. So just to continue this video, I want to do a little bit of discussion on the numerology of the death of Mitch Hedberg, who actually is one of my favorite comedians. I always thought this guy was hilarious, and saw a skit of his yesterday and was inspired to check his numerology. And I want to preface this by saying, I don't necessarily think it's people in Freemasonry killing these people. I think it's very possible that these comedians are actually Freemasons, and they are also faking their deaths on specific dates, much like musicians could be. And I don't know that for sure. I have no idea. It's possible this guy was murdered, but we'll look at the numerology and see that something very strange was always going on with this guy. For starters, let's check out the name Hedberg, which sums to 40 and 32 in reduction. Hedberg was known as a frequent cocaine user. Cocaine equals 40 and 32. And the date on which he died had a life lesson number of 40. 3 plus 30 plus 2 plus 5. His full name was Mitchell Lee Hedberg. And first of all, notice the 333 in reverse ordinal. He died on the date March 30th, written 3/30. We'll touch on that more in a second. But what's more interesting is his ordinal gematria of 153. It's said that Mitch Hedberg died of a drug overdose, which sums to 153. So does the phrase cocaine overdose, 153. His first name, Mitchell, sums to 37. He was a comedian, which equals 37. 37, the age at which he died. Now, 37 is a prime number. Notice how it's the 12th prime number. The name Mitch Hedberg equals 102 in ordinal, just like the number 12. And I noticed that on Wikipedia they made this very strange error. They said he appeared on Howard Stern 13 days before he died, March 17th. He died on March 30th. But they made a calculation error saying it was 12 days before. Well, was this really an error, or did they just want to throw the number 12 out there as a tribute to the gematria of Mitch Hedberg, who died at the age of the 12th prime number? There's another cipher that uses capital letters called Frank Baconus. This is similar to Francis Bacon, but notice how it mixes capital letters with small letters. Capital A, capital B, small b, and so on, all the way through 52. In this method, the name Mitchell Lee Hedberg equals 303. And think about the date on which he died, March 30th, written 30/3 internationally. In Jewish gematria, the two drugs that were blamed for his death, cocaine and heroin, when you add the gematria together, you get 303. Again, like the date he died. Now, as I touched on earlier, the number 33 has the same gematria as ritual human sacrifice. And not only did Mitch Hedberg die on the date March 30th, written a lot like a 33, but check out the gematria of Mitch Hedberg, 66 reduction and 60 reverse. That would be the same as 33, 66 reduction, 60 reverse. Also notice the 141 for 33. He died in the city of Livingston, which sums to 141 in ordinal. One more look at his full name, Mitchell Lee Hedberg. Notice how it sums to 90 in both reduction and reverse reduction gematria. Well, 90 is one of only two numbers to have 33 gematria in the reduction method. All of this, again, a tribute to 33 and the date on which he died. When you write out March 30th, notice how it has reduction values of 79 and 83. The word murder sums to 79 and 83 as well. Also notice how it sums to 38 in reverse reduction. The date on which Hedberg died, 3 plus 30 plus 05, equals 38. He was also 34 days after his birthday. Murder equals 34 in reduction. And you could technically say this was his 38th year also. 34 days is also 4 weeks and 6 days. And this is relevant because the word sacrifice equals 46. In ordinal, sacrifice equals 73. And if you measure from the most recent total solar eclipse to have occurred before Mitch Hedberg died to the date of his death, you'll find he died 70 weeks and 3 days later. If you include the end date, that's 70 weeks and 4 days. In Jewish Gematria, total solar eclipse equals 704. So now let's talk about the numbers of Freemasonry. Notice how his death, 3 plus 30 plus 20 plus 5 equals 58. In reduction, this is the value of Freemasonry, 58. Let's also look at the city in which he died, which I find very interesting. Livingston sums to 1,065 in Jewish Gematria. We already saw the Sinks with 33 up earlier. Livingston, New Jersey equals 165 in ordinal. And notice how Livingston, New Jersey, when abbreviated, has the same gematria as Scottish Rite, the brand of Freemasonry that's ruling our federal government. Livingston, New Jersey, also 57, just like Livingston. 57, like Scottish Rite. And then if you write out the entire name of the state, Livingston, New Jersey, look at Jewish Gematria. 3,190. The word Masonic, or Freemasonic, equals 319. Masonic equals 319 in Satanic Gematria. And this continues to go further. Masonic equals 74, just like the word killing equals 74. Livingston is on the 74th meridian. It's also on the 40th parallel, and think about how Hedberg equals 40, dying on a date with 40 numerology. The word Scottish equals 113. I call this the primary number of deception. Dishonest, not true, not factual, perjury, disinfo, fiction, not honest, all words and phrases that sum to 113. So I find it interesting that Mitch Hedberg had 113 birth numerology, February 24th, 1968. That date, February 24th, also left 311 days in that leap year. And this 113-311 combination is interesting. The number for dishonesty, 113-311 in Gematria. He was also born in the city of St. Paul, which has 113 Gematria. Then when you write out St. Paul, Minnesota, it sums to 223 ordinal, which is the same as Masonic in Jewish Gematria. And to wrap this video up, I'm going to look at this technique that I was using to measure dates of death a couple months ago, and I still think this is very relevant. To me, this is where Gematria can get a little out of hand, so I try to limit my discussion regarding this method, but I still think it's relevant. It has to do with a person's ordinal Gematria. So here we're looking at Mitch Hedberg, 102. Think about the date, 10/2, October 2nd. He died a span of 187 days before October 2nd. 187, known as the homicide code. Homicide equals 66 ordinal. Mitch Hedberg, 66 reduction. There's one more date you can pull from his ordinal Gematria, which is 10/2, like the 10th of February. He died 6 weeks, 6 days after February 10th. Like his name equals 66. If you include the end date, that same duration is also a span of 49 days, and the name Hedberg equals 49 in ordinal. So, something's definitely going on. You know, either these people are faking their deaths, they're getting murdered by the numbers. They're definitely not having drug overdoses on the perfect date like this. It just can't keep happening over and over and over. Especially when their name, like Mitchell Lee Hedberg, sums to the same as drug overdose. These are the numerical riddles we've come to discover are being used to rule our lives. All right, everybody, so thanks for jumping in the live chat once again. Always encourage the likes, the shares, the subscriptions, as YouTube cannot be counted on to promote this content. It's going to be on us, truth seekers. All right. With that, thanks again to everybody. Peace, love, and God bless. Adios.